from Oxnard, California, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer and Director of Player Personnel of the Dallas Cowboys, none other than Stephen Jones here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Stephen?
Hey, Rich, I'm doing good.
Anything going on with you these days?
Oh, we got plenty going on, and we're out here in Oxnard where it couldn't be better conditions to really put a young football team to work and get better, and really excited about what this season holds for us. We've got as I said, a really young football team, but they're out there getting better every day, and it's great seeing a bunch of guys out there making plays, and Jason's doing a great job of getting their focus on getting better, and we really feel like we can improve upon what we did last year and are ready to move forward.
Well, how much of a conversation? No, look, you know what we're all talking about in the media. How much of the fact that Zeke is not in your camp is being discussed on that practice field?
Not at all. It's just not a factor with our coaches and our players. I know certainly it's something the media likes to have something that they can write about, and certainly, I know our fans are interested, in terms of, when this thing might come to a conclusion. But it's certainly, a zero focus as far as our players and our coaches and our organization. So, other than what myself and our salary cap guys are doing. But at the end of the day, this is a distribution dilemma for us. I mean, the money's going to go out the door. It's going to be spent across the board with our team. It's just Jerry and I's job to decide, how to divide the pie, and everybody wants their share and as much as they can get, and rightfully so. I mean, that's not the players' problem. That's not Dak's issue. That's not Zeke's issue. That's not Amari's issue. Is to worry about who gets what. I mean, that's our issue. Certainly, it ultimately comes around to them because it's what we're willing, how much of the pie we're willing to give them, and. All these are great football players, and we're going to exhaust all energy to get this done. And, we want each one of these guys to walk away very happy, with their business, with their contract situation. It's not anything we're concerned about. It's not anything that we're uptight about. It's not anything we're puzzled about. It's just something, that's the business of football, and we have to continue to work on it.
Well, obviously, the fact that Zeke is withholding his services right now has placed at least a pressure point, one believes. Are you surprised that he did not show up to Oxnard, Stephen Jones?
Well, we expect all players that have a contract to show up, and, obviously he didn't. There's rules that pertain to these type of things, and we certainly, have to respect that. Zeke's been a great football player for us, and, he's a warrior on the field, and, we got great respect for him, and, we just want to get resolution at some point.
Well, in terms of your I guess, remedies, there are in the collective bargain agreement remedies in terms of fines, and if he doesn't show for the preseason game, which it appears he will not, a week one game check. Are the Cowboys doing that, Stephen?
Yeah, we don't want to get into the details of how we're working behind the scenes. I don't think that's really fruitful for anybody. As I said, we've got nothing but the greatest respect for all three of these guys. As I said, it's a distribution dilemma. Right. We've drafted well. Hats off to Will McClay and our scouting staff and our coaching staff and all the work that we put into, putting a great young football team together. And we certainly don't want to see these young players that we've drafted over the years walk out the door. And that's why, it's a high-class problem. It's a good problem to have. We want to continue to have it. But how to keep all these young players. And, it doesn't end with these three. I mean, as soon as I can promise you there's guys laying around in these hotel rooms out here that are, that want their turn and want their time at bat in terms of what their contract may look at. So, it's not anything. It's just part of the business. It's not anything we're frustrated with. It's not anything, that every team has to confront in terms of how they divide up their salary cap. And certainly we're no different than others. And we'll continue to work at it and feel comfortable that ultimately we'll get a resolution.
Stephen Jones, Cowboys Executive Vice President, as well as COO, Director of Player Personnel here on the Rich Eisen Show. So there was one thing that I just would love to ask you about, too. You mentioned about Le'Veon Bell's contract perhaps changing the way you approached Zeke throughout this non-playing season. Certainly since at the Combine you talked about how Gurley's contract might be a start. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think it was a start, but then like any contract, every contract that gets done in this league affects others. And if Le'Veon's contract would have been hired, it would have affected it. When Mike Thomas does a deal, it affects the receiver market. When Aaron Rodgers does a deal, it affects the quarterback market. When Tom Brady does a deal, it affects it. So, Le'Veon Bell, he had unfettered free agency, no draft picks attached to him. He had 32 teams that could pay him, and he ended up getting what he got. And so, does it affect it? Of course it does. Do we think Zeke's right at the top of the running back core in this league? I think Zeke's rare, just like Gurley was playing to rare abilities, and obviously Le'Veon has as well. And these are all great players, and they all deserve to get the money that they ultimately get.
So, last one for you on these contracts. Do you and your dad like the conversation? I mean, just that there is buzz, because it seems like you're comfortable with what other teams might find uncomfortable. You said you're not phased. This is part of the business. It just seems like comes hand in glove sometimes with the Dallas Cowboys, Stephen.
Well, it's like you said, that's what comes, with being, one of the top teams in the country, if not the world, in terms of, how people perceive the Cowboys. We don't take that for granted, Rich. It's certainly an honor to get to be a part of the Cowboys. I know our players feel that way. I know our coaches feel that way. One of the things I'd say again, I know Dak, Zeke, and Amari all want to be here. They want to wear the star. They want to be a part of the Cowboys, but we are comfortable with it. I mean, Jerry and I have been around here for 30 years, and last I checked, he's got the final call and still does. But I see us being around for another 30 years. So, this is just part of it. This is part of the business. We're very comfortable in this. At the end of the day, I think our fans believe that we want what's best for this team. No one wants to get back to a Super Bowl worse than Jerry, and hopefully I'm right there as well. I know how bad I want it, but in order for us to do that, everybody's got to understand we're trying to do what's best for this organization, and at the same time, we want our players to be happy, and wearing that star, they get a lot of opportunities. They get a lot of opportunities to make money off the field. We noted last year that of the top 4 seats in the booths on our networks, the Dallas Cowboys had 3 of them of the top 4 in terms of the color, and these guys get opportunities after football. It's a great place to play, but the biggest ache that Jerry and I have right now is we haven't won a Super Bowl in a long, long time, and it's we've got to continue to look for better ways to do things, because the way we've been doing them as of late hasn't worked. So we continue to look for the right answer.
A few minutes left with Stephen Jones, Cowboys executive VP, COO, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's put your competition committee hat on now, Stephen, if you don't mind. One of the last times we talked was when the pass interference conversation about being reviewable was up in the air. It has now been settled. There's a 1-year, I guess, pilot program, one would say. Is this what you wanted? You like the end result of the conversation here?
I felt like I ultimately went along with there was a need to do something after the New Orleans game, to make an attempt to right a wrong. But am I comfortable with it? Not totally. I think this is going to be a challenge for our officials. It's going to be a challenge for our league, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this works out. And I don't think anyone was for voting it in full time. Let's see how this goes. There are going to be some challenges out there, but we've got the best in the business. I think our officials are the very best in the business. I think we've got a great staff, in New York, and we're going to execute this, and if anyone can do it, I got confidence our people can do it.
Well, I know every single time I talk to you, whether it's on this show, Stephen, or off the air, whenever I do cross paths with you, you always mention, it seems to me, more than anybody else in the competition committee, about unintended consequences of rules and wanting to make sure that everything's discussed and everything is covered. And obviously this rule, I'm already sensing an unintended consequence, which is just like anything that's reviewable. Once the review process is open, it's open for review, even if it wasn't asked by the coach to be reviewed. And to me, that is definitely not the intended spirit of making pass interference reviewable. That's the one that really gets me, and I think that fans are going to be freaking out about, Stephen. I wonder what you think, if that is
well.
on
Like I said, Rich, it's the unintended consequences that bite you. I think if you were to ask any one of our members on the competition committee, there's they all have their concerns, and but at the same time, I think it's something that we needed to give a go. And like I said, I think we've got the very best officials. I think they do a great job. Anytime you're under a microscope, if any one of us were under the microscope, they're under, with television the way it is this day and time and the number of cameras that we have on the field, you're going to have issues, and you're going to have things where people question or second guess. And, we just need to do this and look at it. And, we've done things before with rules, and, we'll evaluate this one very closely, and we'll evaluate it as the season's going on. And, we'll get on our calls and we'll critique and see if there's anything we can do better as we move forward. But this is certainly something new, and this is certainly something we'll be watching closely.
Well, and as you always know, I make suggestions, though, Stephen. I don't just, I
as
always,
you should. We love our we love our fans. We love our media. That's what they're for. And the game. Y'all make the game what it is.
Well, here it is. Here's my suggestion. Here's my suggestion for you.
Okay.
Is that you tweak it, that pass interference is not in the bucket of always reviewable once the review process is open. You have to specifically ask for it to be reviewed, and you cannot use it to see OPI when you're asking for DPI and vice versa. Just remove that from the bucket of everything's reviewable, and maybe it's tweaked to the point. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's certainly something we're going to continue to discuss, and it's a great point.
Thank you. Okay, good.
These things are a work in progress, Rich. There's no question. And as we see this thing play out in the preseason, obviously we're going to be watching it very closely as we really get a full slate of games as we move forward and we see how this thing plays out. It's going to be watched very closely, and it's suggestions like yours that we'll keep an eye on and see what the unintended consequences are, and we'll move forward from there.
All right. In closing with you, Stephen, then since I just took a moment for myself, I'm going to continue with that, if you don't mind. There is an I in Rich and Eisen. A few weeks ago on this show, when Zeke did not show up for work for you in Oxnard, California, I said I was so confident that you guys in Dallas would get this deal done, that if Zeke Elliott does not appear in week 1 against the Giants for you, Stephen Jones, and he's a healthy guy, that I would, my sound guy that I have across the way from New Jersey, he wears a Callaway hat because it's a sponsor of the show. I think you'll appreciate our branding here, that I would eat his hat off the top of his head. Am I going to eat a hat week 1 of this season, Stephen Jones?
Well, we have a lot of confidence that we can get deals done. And so I certainly hope that there's not going to be any hat eating on the Eisen show.
Okay.
So, we have a lot of confidence that we can get these done, and we can get all 3 of these contracts done, and hopefully even more young players as we move forward.
No, I know. You got a Super Bowl to win. There's wins and losses. The Dallas Cowboys, your passionate fan base. Just, there is me and what I have on the line, too, Stephen. Just understand that.
Well, I'll certainly be thinking of that as we move forward.
Okay. So when this on the dotted line, just you say, we're thrilled to have Zeke here, and Rich, you don't have to eat a hat. Basically, just
I love it, Rich.
Keep that in mind. Thanks for the call, Stephen. Really appreciate it. You got it. Stephen Jones, Cowboys Executive Vice President.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.